What is up, YouTube? I actually am I'm actually walking out of the frame of the picture for a second. Just gonna grab my smoke here. I'm doing a teaching. I'm going to be doing a teaching on newer versions versus the King James. Now, what I'm going to do is, to be fair, I'm going to be using the AV 1611. Those of you out there who watch my channel are probably like, whoa, because there's a lot of King James only people that watch my channel. And you guys are probably thinking, well, what's this New Ager doing using the 1611? Well, I read the 1611 too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be comparing my 1611, not the facsimile that I have, or not really necessarily a facsimile, but I have a copy of the 1611 that is actually word for word, verbatim, the 1611, without the verse divisions and stuff like that. But I'm going to be using my local church, Bible Publishers, Iron Calfskin 1611. That way, and it's the handheld size, so that way any of you that have that specific one, or have anything by local church Bible Publishers, you can follow along, because I'm going to have it verbatim. They only do 1611 King James. That is it. That's all you're going to get from them. And I'm going to be comparing that with my Oxford Pitmanian New King James, with my Lockman Foundation NASB, with my Crossway ESV, which I shouldn't have to say Lockman Foundation NASB or ESV for Crossway, because those copyrights are still good. The issue, okay, that brings me to another issue. 1611 King James people. I'm not necessarily talking to the 1769 Blaney edition King James people, but you can listen to. You guys have the Sigma Cum Laude, which is the 17th century version of a copyright. So because the ESV and the NASB are copyrighted, don't give me that. Don't give me, oh, well, you guys have a copyright and you guys just want to make money, because you guys also had a copyright. The only difference is anybody can publish the 1611 or the 1769, because the copyright ran up, and I believe it was after 100 years. I think it's after any copyright ends after 100 years. So don't give me the you had a copyright or we have a copyright, because so did you. Anyway, I'm going to be using Bible dictionaries, concordances, and just so you know, the and I'm going to be using the Oxford Schofield edition too. Which is, everybody knows, is a 1611 King James. Any Oxford, I believe, is a 1611 King James. I could be wrong. For those of you who watch my channel know that I'm a fan of handheld or compact Bibles. I don't really like big ones too much. I mean, I do like, as Holiday Ministry says, Big Daddies, but I like compact handheld versions much better, because you can take them with you. Now, if you're going to ask if I'm taking any of my Oxfords or my Cambridge or my by Cambridge Pitmanian or my local church Bible Publishers with me, the answer is hell no. Which also brings me to another issue real quick. I said hell, that brings the chapter Isaiah into question, where they say that the new versions translate Hallel as morning star. That is actually what it means. It does mean morning star. And that's what the name Lucifer meant. Hallel translates to Lucifer, which meant morning star. Or no, bright and shining star, or star of the morning, to be exact. Now, I will do me well. I have friends that speak both Hebrew and Greek, and I will check this out with them. So that part of this video could be changed. But from the understanding that I have, Hillel translates to Lucifer, which means bright and shining star. Okay? Or morning star. In Isaiah, as far as I can put context to this and explain it with a little bit of exegesis, Isaiah actually is talking about Lucifer when it says, "Oh, son of the morning," or star of the morning. Sorry, because that's what Lucifer meant. So that's what was being referred to. What a lot of people don't realize is the Bible quotes itself. And now the 2 chapters I'm going to be studying in these are common King James only attacks on new versions. So the 23rd Psalm. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me, or thou art with me. Showing how, although the wording is different, it does not mean that it translates into a different message. Sam Gipp, if you ever see this video, and I hope you do, but I doubt you ever will, that's what it means. And if Sam Gipp does see this, I'd be more than glad to debate you, Sam Gipp. You're not an authority on this because you do not know. And yes, I don't know Greek or Hebrew, but I have friends that do and can actually fix this for me and teach you if you do happen to come across this video, which I doubt you will. And Matthew 17:21, the 2 proof texts that KJVO, King James only, specifically the 1611 camp, not necessarily, sometimes the 1769, but specifically the 1611 camp, used against for users of the new versions. Now, in Matthew 17:21, all I'm going to say, I'm going to do my entire teaching on this, is if you compare it to Mark 9:29, you can see that Mark was actually quoting Matthew. So, now you have harmonization and stuff like that. That's the stuff I'll get into. Just stay tuned, because I'm going to debunk all KJV only arguments. But all of them that I know. I'm sure there's more that I don't. And hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. The versions I'm going to be using for sure, again, are the 1611 King James, the 1769 Blaney edition King James, the NASB, the ESV, and the New King James. The reason why, and they will tell you, oh, but the King James and New King James are not only minus the these and the thous. You're right. Sometimes, like in the 23rd Psalm, where in the old KJV, it is translated forever as the last word of that chapter. Forever. The newer version is translated forever, one word. That's pretty much the only difference is how the wording is, and if the words are combined into 2 words or 1. That's pretty much it, man. And I'm going to show you guys that, okay? I'm not going to get too far into it now. But the concordance that I'm going to be using, other than the concordances in those Bibles, is a 1981 version of Abington Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible, which is going to be in the King James format. And I'm going to be using the Student Bible Dictionary, produced by, who is it produced by? Barber. Now keep in mind, this is not an exhaustive dictionary, but this was what I was able to afford, so I can only use the materials that I'm able to afford, and that's the best I can do. Anybody who wants me to use better materials, donate some money, and I will. And I'll even show an itemized list of what they were spent on, the money was spent on, so that you guys can see, and I'll show the receipts and everything, or if I get them from Amazon, I'll give you a link to the Amazon so you can see exactly what I spent it on. so you know that I'm not e-bagging. Anyway, that's it for this now. Stay tuned. And just so you know, I was debating too, but I've decided against in the process of recording this video. I was going to use some paraphrases, like the Living Bible, the New Living Translation, which basically is the same thing. I was going to use both of them. The Message, stuff like that, but I've decided against that. I'm only going to use functional equivalent texts. So things that were basically translated either from Nestle Aland, or not translated from them, but translated from like the Septuagint, the Sinaiticus, the Vaticanus, because those are the three things that are commonly attacked on the new user side in the newer versions camp. And I'm going to be not translating, but I'm going to be using translations and version, or one translation and one version. Now, the New King James is not a translation, just so you know. It is a paraphrase, basically. It was translated from the Textus Receptus, but essentially, because there's almost no difference between the King James and the New King James, from the 1611 to the New King James. When I say, because I don't want to say AV 1611 all the time, so I'll just say the King James. If I'm talking about the 1769, I'll say the Blaney edition. The only difference between the King James and the New King James, they were translated from the same manuscripts, but essentially it was like the New King James was basically paraphrased from the King James. That's essentially what it was. And because it's a paraphrase from the King James, I consider saying that it was translated from the Textus Receptus to be valid, because the King James was translated from the Textus Receptus. Now we're going to go into things like Erasmus and Stephanus and stuff, and how they